welcome to my channel. My name is Destiny, and today's episode I will be showing how I create my type portraits. I have created quite a few type portraits of women in the Bible. So this one is Mary, the mother of James and Joseph. I take a bunch of pictures of different people who are willing to model for me. So I take the picture and open it in Photoshop, and I'll do color correcting. I only have so many scarves, so a lot of times I reuse the same scarves. And I try to always take out the background just because it's easier for me to not get distracted by shadows or other things in the background while I'm creating them. So you may be wondering, who is Mary, the mother of James and Joseph? So she is named in the Gospels along with the other women that followed Jesus, and she was one of the women that was at the tomb. She was at the cross. Most likely she was also a financial supporter of Jesus. Once the colors are the way that I want, I bring the image into Illustrator and get everything set up so that I can start the type portrait part. I choose different fonts and different words to use that are related to that person. As a rule, I use the name of the subject to be on the shawl because it is the most predominant and very easy to pick up when somebody's just looking at the image. So before I start, I put all of the words where they're going to eventually be, and then I always start on the head covering. The trick with type portraits is to mold the fonts, the type, around the shapes and the shadows of the fabric or of the subject. So I want to take into consideration where fabric folds are and just different shadows so that I can mold the letters to those shapes, because then in the final product you will be able to see those shapes a little bit better. Something I've learned along the way is that the bigger the words are, the better, and if they follow the shape of whatever I'm doing, the better also. So what in the final product, what you will see is the image that is underneath the letters. So I try to cover as many of creases and shadows, and especially defining lines, because that is only going to show up if I have a letter overlapping that part. For some features, it's really important to have the majority of the space covered with the letter, and other shapes like the nose, it's not as important to have the space covered, but to have the actual shape defined. So I'm using the stretching and pulling of the letters to actually create the shape of the nose without needing too much detail there. Where in contrast, for the eyes, I really want to have as much of that covered as I can, because then it'll be more defined and pop a little bit more, because there's more detail and all that in that space. For the skin, I did Follower of Jesus, and I tried it in all caps and in some caps, some lowercase. And even in the end, I didn't really like this font, but I went ahead and did the whole thing, and you'll see at the end I actually end up redoing this part, just because this is a tricky part, because if there's too much empty space in the type, then it's going to look very blotchy when I turn it into a mask and you can see through it. And for the hair, I really like using these fonts that almost imitate the hair a little bit, so that even if you don't get a lot of definition of the hair, you do get the general shape just by the shape of the letters. I am going to now turn all the type into an object and then overlay the black and turn it into a mask. So now you can see what the picture is. I didn't really like the way that the font and the face looked, so here I am going to redo it all. Thankfully, it didn't take too long. One of the things that I noticed was she almost looked sad, and I didn't really want her to look sad, so I just tweak some of the type around her eyes, and you'll see also I tweak around her mouth, and that makes quite a difference in making her look more smiling rather than sad. because I am trying to make her look happier. As I do the chin, I want to accentuate the shape of a smile. So I'm using fewer words, but trying to keep it in that shape. So in the end, it's going to look more smiling. And even just the slight maneuver of where I put the type that's above the mouth makes such a huge difference, whether it goes the whole way to the cheek or if it stops before. So once again, I am going to create the object and mask it, and here is the final product. I'm really happy with it and I hope you like it. If you like this video, please make sure you click the like button, make a comment and subscribe, and remember, choose joy.